I'm a big audiobooks person. So during the day, just when I'm doing the dishes or something, I have just Star Wars audiobooks like that I just listen to over and over and over again when I'm not watching the shows or building the Lego or watching the movies. So yes, I love Star Wars. What's up, guys? Happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. This is Winston from Parkway Drive. The first movie I can ever remember watching was Star Wars: A New Hope, and it scared the hell out of me. Like Darth Vader scared me, and when he chopped Obi-Wan down and he just turned into some robes, it scared the hell out of me. But then me and my friend would go and take sticks off a tree and like have lightsaber battles in the backyard, and that's the first movie I ever watched. And from then on, I've just been addicted to it. I can remember I had picture books when I was a kid. I had the old toys my dad would go and get from a secondhand store, and they'd be like, here's Luke Skywalker with one leg broken off. Because we couldn't afford the full toy, so I'd get the secondhand one, a 3-winged X-Wing and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't even remember the entire movie. I just remember portions of it, very specifically the lightsaber battles and the Death Star trench run, the speeder on Tatooine, stuff like that. Yeah, well, it's really interesting. It's the thing that's been constant. Like I've always loved it, and I've loved it to different levels. Like it's always, I think it's very interesting to have it be such an amazing formative part of your childhood, and then that childhood I had to wait 10 years before all of a sudden something new with Star Wars was coming out. Like I watched those movies until I knew every single part of it. And then we were getting the re-releases occasionally when there was the new really bad CGI that George Lucas had put in and stuff before the prequels even came out. And then that's kind of all you had. And then all of a sudden new stuff was happening and it just got even more exciting again. So yeah, I don't know, it helped me with reading, it helped me with absolutely everything. And there's just something about that world, I don't know, it really connected with me. I'm not really sure why, but I think it's deep enough that like when you're a kid, you're like, I really like the good guys. And then the older you get, you're like, I kind of understand why the bad people are bad. I think the thing that got me through the teenage years as well was I started reading the books, all the expanded universe stuff, when that started coming out, and I realized there was more Star Wars than the 3 movies. Then I really got addicted. And I've read a lot of before Walt Disney came along and nuked everything, or what is called Legends now. I've read everything of that, everything. And that's when it really, like, it was kind of just endless, and I just spiraled down, constantly having something to engage me. And it's a universe which I think they expanded on really, really well. It's hard to pick, like, there's a few holes in it here and there, but considering how massive they made the galaxy a long time ago, far, far away, through all of that, there was a lot to go into, and they did a really good job. So there's a few dodgy stories, but there's still some really cool stuff in there. For something that embodies, like, the whole concept seems to have originally been built on light and dark and like a hero's journey. I actually really enjoyed the fact that when they started expanding them with the prequels and stuff like that, it became far more nuanced. I love the fact that it shows how people change and what situations and consequence and all of those things and life does to change a personality. And it became really relatable, because it wasn't just like all of a sudden knight in shining armor with laser sword saves the day. You start realizing, it's weird, but the politics and all of that kind of stuff behind it, I found fascinating. All of a sudden realizing that the Jedi aren't these amazing saviors, and that there's reasons everything has fallen apart, and there's reasons that Darth Vader became Darth Vader that are kind of understandable, is really interesting. And especially when you're growing up as a kid and your mind is also changing at the same time, and you realize everything isn't just black and white. The fact that the Star Wars universe is not just black and white is something that's, I think, very relatable. Like this weird space world I find very relatable, and I love the inclusivity of it. Like the fact that there's just so many different beings in this galaxy that is created, that you kind of just don't question anyone's place in it, which is really nice, especially in this day and age where it seems to be something where everyone questions why people are the way they are and seems to want to push against that. In Star Wars, there's just a million different species and people and all of those things blending into this one crazy world, and you're kind of like, awesome, acceptance is a great thing. So yeah. What's the Force for me? I lost it with the midi-chlorians. when they explained it like that, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. That kind of killed my buzz for a while until that got explained. But oh my God, it's so hard. I'm speaking like I'm trying to be a professor on Star Wars or something. Hey, here's the thing. It does lots of cool things. I love the idea that like being able to harness an invisible energy of the universe is so awesome, because I think that is, it taps into that idea that just beyond our human perception is something that binds every single aspect of the universe, and that if you were just a little bit more than what you are now, you'd be able to control it and feel it, which is, I think everyone kind of feels like that. It feels like it's what we call like luck and fate and all of those kind of things. You just feel like it's just out of reach. And it's that thing that it's not such a big deal that you can't imagine it being real, but 1% more, man, and I'd just be like levitating that phone charger over. Yeah. So I know the Jedi and the Sith code, and I find the Sith code to be much more realistic, which is why I like, it's really where I said earlier that I started relating to the villains more, was because I don't know, I find, especially like when you start watching Clone Wars and the prequels and stuff, you realize that there's a fair bit of hypocrisy involved in the Jedi religion in the first place, for all of the good that there is. It's a pretty good example of like when religious zealotry goes wrong, and then you've got the kind of the repression that goes with it. But the Sith code, I'm down with peace being a lie and there's only passion. So yeah, that's not necessarily like for murdering people, but the Sith code of passion fueling your breaking of chains is something that I subscribe to. I think any good story is good because you can take something out of it. And I think all of those things I said before are very, very true. Like there's so much acceptance and examples of good people becoming bad for certain reasons and bad people being shown the way of redemption. And when you put that into the real world that we're in, it comes down to not judging a book by its cover, not writing off someone as just being inherently evil, and not thinking that someone is above anyone else simply because they claim themselves to be high and mighty. And it is that thing of like they're not dealing in absolutes. It's, yeah, there you go. There's a nice Jedi saying, only a Sith deals in absolutes. But yeah, not like the world is not absolute. We still are everyone's a very complicated creature in our little world alone, and to think that anyone has all the answers is only going to lead us to struggle even more. My favorite character when I was a kid was always Luke, rather than Han. Like Han was too complicated, but I liked the boy with the blue lightsaber. But the more I grew up, the more especially when the prequels came and Anakin's story was like, I love Vader, the story of Vader, but I actually love Darth Maul, Darth Maul and Thrawn are the two that I probably like the most, the two favorite characters in the Star Wars universe, because one of them is on his own messed up journey, which is absolutely fantastic, and the other one is incredibly intelligent. And I love the fact that Star Wars had or has coming especially a villain that doesn't have any superpowers other than his brain, and that's the really like the most powerful thing going in a show where people can literally move space and time with their minds. It's pretty cool that someone doesn't even have to have a laser sword to be the most powerful person in the universe. Either the first Death Star trench run in A New Hope, or obviously Bespin Cloud City. Actually, I'll give you one from each movie. Vader throwing Palpatine down the well is fantastic, but possibly the one that I've cheered the most at is Vader in Rogue One absolutely slaughtering everybody. His one scene in the hallway, I was on my feet in the cinema screaming when that happened. I think that was absolutely iconic, because like that was really showing the Darth Vader that everyone had always wanted to see, which is really, really cool. So yeah. No, I haven't. Never have, and I don't know why. It's like I reckon I could shave my head and do a good Darth Maul. And I've always dreamed of owning a good a good stormtrooper outfit, good enough to be in like 501st or something. So one day we'll see. I don't like the new ones. The latest Disney trilogy. It's very interesting because they're literally the ones that I don't remember. Maybe because they just told the same story over again, but worse. But I love everything up until that. And I remember not liking the prequels when they first came out as much because of the CGI and everything. But going back to them, I think the story's fantastic. And I think the original trilogy is still absolutely flawless as far as I'm concerned. And I love all of the cartoons and I love all of the shows. I don't think all of the shows are necessarily up to the same standard, but I still think they're great and they still add something. It's only the later stuff that the three Disney movies that I don't like so much. So sorry, they probably shouldn't have made that. But we'll see what they're doing with the Mandalorian. Maybe it's gonna actually make some sense after all. We'll see. I don't know. I think Andor is my favorite so far. I was not expecting to love that as much as I did, and I think that was really, really, really good. I mean, the whole series was just amazing, but the fact that there wasn't Jedi in it and there was very limited, like really crazy stuff going on, and it was basically just a spy movie about the Empire was really great. And I loved watching ISB and all of that Imperial spy stuff going on. It was really cool. I'm really looking forward to the Acolyte because I love that era of Star Wars, and there's a bunch of characters I'm hoping come into that, but either way, like, that's going to be really interesting. But I'm really looking forward to Ahsoka because the whole Thrawn trilogy from years ago, from the early 90s with Heir to the Empire and Last Command and all of that stuff, was something which meant a lot to me. And when Disney cut the whole back Legends thing, I was literally heartbroken that they didn't make that a trilogy because it's so good. And the fact that it seems like they're doing something along those lines is really awesome because that character is amazing and there's so much cool shit which they could do with it. And just judging from that, the trailer that they released, like, yeah, I was yelling at my television when that was going on. It was a really good moment. It was a really, really good moment. So yeah. No, that's the strange thing as well. Like I actually did think about that the other day because I do reread and re-listen to so much material and re-watch the movies, and I never get sick of them. It's been part of my life for 37 years now, and I do think to myself, maybe one day I'll turn this on and I won't want to watch it because I've seen it, or I just don't care about it. And no, like I've also had the thoughts recently of like, I will love this until the day that I die. and that's just the way it's going to be. Like it's literally just another universe that my brain inhabits at this point in time. Yeah, I do. That's the thing. I feel a different way about it, or I see something I've never seen before, and it's just, I don't know, there's just something magic about it, which is, I guess that's what it was supposed to be in the first place, but there's something special about Star Wars, and I think that's why, obviously, I'm not the only one that feels like that. It's like the biggest thing in the world in terms of series and movies and the impact that it's had. It's pretty insane to consider what it's done on a cultural level. Star Wars Lord, yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%, yeah, like massive Star Wars geek. I know more Star Wars than I know from my schooling. So yeah, I'm a geek. It's got some vibe in there. There's you know what, actually, when I said earlier that I really hate the new trilogy, I actually stole something out of that and put it in one of our songs. So in Soul Bleach, like the line before the breakdown continues is "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." And that was literally the only thing that stuck with me out of those trilogies, was when Kylo Ren said that. I was like, that is really fucking good. And then I put it in a song. So there's a couple of Star Wars references in the new stuff, and there's stuff in the old ones as well. We got a song that's called "Looks Like Yoda," so yeah. Sith Lord, man, Jesus, this is me. I'd be like, dude, power, red lightsaber, some kind of good get up. Not necessarily slaughtering people, but way of the Sith, man. That's me. I'm a Sith Lord trading on Korriban somewhere. One day you'll see my brain twig on stage, and I'll enter that full Palpatine mode while I'm screaming, and there'll all be lightning out of my fingers. If we ever figure out how to do that as an effect, just know it came from Star Wars. It's unlimited power. So, yeah.